all coaches like to see your growth, right? Of course, they want someone that's amazing, ninth grade, so they know probably by senior year they're going to be even better. But they like to see the growth of the dancer over the years. Yes, they're supposed to be driving, but you really need to have your foot on the brake and helping them as much as you can.
Welcome to Beyond the Steps, produced by Apollo Performance and Turning Point Dance Creations. This month, we're diving into college dance recruiting from both the parent and coach's perspectives with dance educator, recruiting trainer, and a parent of a recruit herself, Treshawn Brown. In this first episode, we're getting a lay of the land on what recruiting really means, how it works, and where to even get started. Treshawn, we did an episode on auditions last year that got a lot of attention, and I know this is a huge topic, and you have a lot of experience. So welcome, and we're so happy to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Let's dive in, Melissa. I'll let you kick it off.
Oh, I've known Treshawn for years, so I am happy to kick it off, and Marley. So I'm happy to talk about her journey. Let's start with the beginning. Treshawn, a lot of parents, and in our world, hear the word recruiting, and they immediately think of football, basketball, soccer. Can you walk us through what recruiting means in the dance world and how you think it might be a little different?
Yes. So recruiting in the dance world is totally different if your child plays a sport or if you've had experience with a child playing a sport. Recruiting in the dance world means going to the different schools, getting to know them better, going to their clinics. That could be 3 a year. Usually there's a summer, spring, and a fall. It's just making sure you're in front of the schools that you want to go to as much as you can, and hopefully you get a spot on their team. That's recruitment in the dance world. It's also going to different combines where a lot of schools come in one place and you get to dance. So recruitment looks different depending on what you want.
Is this something that begins freshman year, or does it really pick up later in high school? Like I was just talking to Melissa before you joined in that my son plays competitive soccer, and we're hearing that if you want to play that in college and start the recruiting process, that starting that initial contact takes place in middle school. So when does it start for dancers?
Now it's getting going earlier and earlier. Hour is when you should really start going to schools, and you can start local, right? If you live in North Carolina, you don't have to go all the way to California your first year in 8th grade, but at least start local with some of the colleges in your area. But 8th grade, I think, is a great time to start. Just because schools like Ohio State or LSU, they have what they call like a 2-year bench. So they kind of know 2 years ahead of time some of the people they have seen over the years who they may want. So you want to start as early as you can.
I have to go off on the tangent a little bit. So 2-year bench, that means that your kid has to know what they want to do at least 2 years before they graduate. And then they need to start 2 years before they know. So that means that you have to telepathically know that this is what you want to do.
Yes. So, and again, that's why I said it's a little bit different, right? Like if you're on a football team or a soccer team or volleyball, you're playing, schools are looking at you. Yes, you may know you want to eventually play in college, but schools are looking at you. They're coming and seeing you, or you have all these platforms where they can get information. With dance, it's different. You do have to know that you want to dance in college and a little bit of where you want to go at an early age so you can really get in front of those schools.
Interesting. So basically, if you don't know what you want to do, which, again, there's plenty of kids that just, they're not sure, you're kind of, taking a chance that maybe the opportunities won't be as plentiful down the road, right? If you decide it's something you want to do at a later time.
Right. And now, so you have schools that fall into 3 categories: recruitment only, hybrid, and audition. Right. So if you're late at the game, you decided your senior year that you want to dance in college, maybe your focus should be only on audition only schools versus schools that only recruit.
So you mentioned earlier, Treshawn, the early connections with teams. It sounds like it's very relationship based with coaches. And that sounds very intimidating. Like you got to know somebody to know somebody. You got to know the people in charge. Let my people call your people, What are some simple but appropriate first steps for parents and dancers to take to start to build those relationships?
So one, it's going to those schools clinics. Usually after every clinic, the coaches stand up in front and allow the students to stand in a very long line to wait to speak to them. And that's your first interaction, right? Is to say, hey, my name is my year I'm graduating. I'm excited to be on a team such as yours. And that's when you kind of build that connection, especially if you did well during the clinic. And then I always tell my students and my daughter, it's all, especially if it's a school you like, follow with an email, say, hey, I enjoyed myself at your clinic. Here's my social media link. Take a look at it so you can start building that relationship.
So side note, you recommend having a social media account for your dancer.
Yes. Yes, I do. It's because it's your resume.
So it's widely used for that.
No, I was just saying that's where they can see reels about you, see, you just you and your element or just you as a person, right?
It's almost like your highlight reel online, essentially. Okay, that's my wheels are spinning. So I know obviously you're going through this with your daughter right now. When you first started looking into collegiate dance for her, what did that process look like for you as the parent, and what surprised you the most?
So, me being a dance teacher, I thought, ninth grade was, when we need to start it. We started, slow. We started locally. And we were a little bit behind the eight, but what we did, we signed up for a college combine. Actually, she did Tribe 99. I recommend the combines, whether it's Tribe or Prodigy or Company 12. There's a ton that are now forming out there. But it just allows you, especially if you're behind with going to different schools, because it's also costly, right, for travel, to go to a combine because you have, for like Tribe, 100 plus universities in one location that you can perform in front of. It is intimidating, but it's a great way to get in front of the schools at once.
Would you say that when you go to those combines, it's not like a first impression if you don't do really well that first time in 8th or ninth grade, do they close the book on you, or do they, if you keep going back and you keep making that connection, do they like to see that growth in the dancers?
I find that I think all coaches like to see your growth, right? Of course, they want someone that's amazing, ninth grade, so they know probably by senior year they're going to be even better. But they like to see the growth of the dancer over the years.
Okay, that's great to know. So when you as the parent, sorry, I know that we have to sort of wrap up this segment, but for you as the parent, I know there's a lot of talk about at a certain point you want the kids to do the communicating, you want the kids to advocate for themselves and learn how to communicate with the coaches, but how important is the parent oversight here? Because I would imagine, I mean, I know kids in middle school are sometimes the most awkward beings on the face of the planet. And so how do you take them through this process without being completely overbearing? What's the key to that balance?
So the key to that balance is have the discussions before you get to the clinic or combine with your child over and over again. You will. I said it on a parent meeting during her first combine, and they showed a picture of a bus, and they said your child is driving it, and you're sitting way in the back. And there's no way I'm letting my 14, almost 15-year-olds drive this bus, right? So you have to, as a parent, they are supposed to be communicating with the coach, but there's ways around that, right? So if you want them to send an email, you're helping them craft that email, but it's coming from their email address. You're making sure it sounds like a 14 or 15-year-old. You're talking to your child, hey, before you go up to this coach, these are the type of questions you should ask. This, especially if there are things you want to know as a parent, you're kind of telling them what questions to ask. So yes, they're supposed to be driving, but you really need to have your foot on the brake and helping them as much as you can.
Got it. So, Trishawn, we are big on education and resources for everybody out there, because we really believe when you know better, you do better. So for us, we encourage everyone watching to please visit our website with lots of helpful information and resources, including our free Steps Initiative course, which is a catalyst for this show. It's going to cover everything from racism and gender inequity to sex abuse and prevention, nutrition, psychology, dance medicine and science, and more. It's completely free. Did I say free? But you can, we're going to pop that link in the chat. You can go and learn more about the Steps Initiative and take the course through that website. And we hope that you do. Please share it. It's a fantastic, fantastic free resource for everyone in your community. And it kind of gives us a broader view on all of the social issues affecting dancers in the dance community today. For you, is there any, you mentioned resources, for combines. Is there anything, any resources that people that you can share with parents out there that might be going through this, of where to learn more about these combines, or what kind combines you would recommend? I know you mentioned Tribe 99. Is there anything else that you would recommend for everybody?
Yes. So, unfortunately, there is not one resource that kind of tells you everything. That's something that needs to be developed. But Pride 99, Prodigy, Company 12, they currently are the ones that put on larger combines. They're in different areas, smaller organizations or schools will do local combines, but those are the larger ones.
Nice. And you will have to go out of state for those. Is that generally the expectation there?
Yes, correct. You would generally have to go out of state for those. Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And we'll pop those links in the chat as well. And Treshawn, can you, for everybody out there who might want to get in touch with you or follow along with your journey, can you share how to get in touch with you?
Yes, of course. So my name is Treshawn Brown. Again, I am a dance coach or technician. I do private lessons, and you can find me at TLC Dance Experience on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you. Everybody give Treshawn a follow, and super accessible. If you have any questions, I'm sure she is more than happy and willing to answer that. And make sure you go back and watch this episode and all of our episodes from the beginning on YouTube and Facebook at apolloperformance.com and TP Dance Creations.
This has not been enough. We have not learned enough. We have just scratched the surface, I can tell, of what we need to know about this topic. So, Treshawn, I know I can imagine just from listening to you, some of the questions parents are asking is, what am I supposed to be doing? How do I do this without taking over? How do I handle the stress? How do I handle the money? How do I handle the logistics? How do I keep track of all this? So I think that that's something that we can talk about in the next episode. Do you think that's possible?
Possible, yes, because it's a lot. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot. Exactly. We might have to break it up into a few episodes. Luckily for everyone, Treshawn's gonna be back, and those are the exact topics that we're gonna be diving into next week. So join us right back here as we get into the parents playbook and how to support the dancer through the recruiting process without losing your mind. As you can see, Treshawn has not lost her mind. She looks like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl over there. You don't want to miss it. Until then, we hope you continue your journey.